In this video, we will cover some of the question types that you can create in Canvas for your quiz. We're going to cover how you create it, how you provide feedback to the students, and what they look like. So when we are in the questions tab inside of our quiz, we get started creating questions by pressing plus new question at the bottom of the section. When we do that, it will start a question for us. By default, it will start with the last question type that we used, or if it's the first question, it will start with multiple choice. So at the top, we have the first field, which is highlighted right now, and it says the word question. That is the label for the question. This is a label for you and you alone. It is not a label that the students will see. The students will see a number as the label for the question. So this is for you just to be able to organize your questions more easily without having to read all the prompts. So I'm going to label this as MC, standing for multiple choice. As I said, it already defaulted to multiple choice, but when I click the words multiple choice, I can see all the different types of questions I could be building, but we're going to stick with multiple choice for this one. Then to the right of that is a box where I can tell Canvas how many points is this question worth. I am going to make this question worth 5 points. Then I get a box where you should be entering the prompt, the question, any instructions you need to give to the students. So I'm going to copy a prompt already prepared. With the increase of pressure, the boiling point of any substance, and then the students have to choose one of the correct answers. So once I have entered the prompt, I scroll down and I can see by default it gives me 4 boxes for possible answers, and the students have to choose which one is the correct one. By default, it picks the first one to be the correct one, but I'll be going over how you can change which ones of the options is the correct one. So we're going to enter the possible answers right here, which is decreases, increases, remains the same, and the last option becomes 0. So these are the 4 options. The second answer is actually the correct one, and how I can tell Canvas that is I'm going to hover over the word increases. I now see a faded green arrow to the left of the words possible answer. If I click this green arrow, the words possible answer become correct answer, and now this is labeled as the correct answer. And I can also see that the first one now says possible answer instead of correct answer. Below each of these options with multiple choice, there are these boxes. For the incorrect answers, they're red boxes. For the correct answer, they are green boxes. This is where I can give the students automatic feedback if they chose that option. So for example, for decreases, I can click this red box and I get a box where I can enter the feedback. In fact, the boiling point will increase with increased pressure. So I'm giving them feedback for all the students that chose this particular answer. When I'm done typing in my feedback, I just have to go at the bottom and click the button that says done. So now I can see right here, summarize, that any student that chooses decreases as the answer will receive this feedback. Below all 4 of my options, I have 3 color-coded boxes yet again. These are more general feedback. For the first one is green box. If I put a comment in this one, then that comment will be for all the students that answer this question correctly. Then I have a red box. This is for any incorrect answer. So this red box right here, I can enter a comment for anyone who picked any of the 3 wrong answers. And then no matter which one of those 3 they chose, they'll see this feedback. And then the last one is the blue one, which is a comment that every student, whether they got it right or wrong, will receive as an answer. So for example, for the wrong one, I can put in the exact same message that I put for the decreases. And now this message will be shown to all the students that chose the wrong answer for this question. Once I am done setting up the prompt, the amount of points, all the options, labeled the correct answer as the correct answer, put in any feedback that I want the system to automatically give the students. Once I'm done and happy with everything, to save this, I have to click the button Update Question at the bottom of the question. And this is repeated over and over for every single question. You set up everything as you want it to be, and then click Update Question in order to save the question. If we only click the Save button at the bottom right, this question will not be saved. So to save questions, we click Update Question. Once we do that, we can see that it gives us a little preview. The label that we put in, the amount of points, and the prompt are summarized here for us, and they'll do that for every single question. As you're building up a quiz with 30 or 40 questions, for example, these labels become more and more important because it will make it easier for you to move the questions around or do anything with them without having to read every single prompt for that many questions. Okay, so let's create another question. This time, let's create a true-false question. So again, we click plus new question on the bottom left. And again, we get the label. I'm going to call this one TF for true false. Where it says multiple choice, I'm going to this time click the words multiple choice, then click true false. Now this is a true false question. And again, I can set up however many points I want this question to have. And yet again, I have a prompt where I can enter the true false statement. So Britain declared war on Germany in 1939. This is a true statement. Again, at the bottom, the system defaults to true being the correct answer, but I can always change it by hovering over false, clicking the faded green arrow to the left of the word false, and now false is in green font, representing the fact that false is the correct answer. But this is a true statement, so I'm putting it back to true being the correct answer. And again, you see the same feedback boxes you saw with multiple choice. I can choose to have a comment for people choosing true. I can have a comment for people choosing false, or use the overall comments over here and even give a comment to everyone with more information or explanation of the answer. Once I have set up everything as I want, I just click Update Question to save it. So true, false are a little bit easier to set up. Then the next question type we're going to go over is multiple answer. Multiple answer is a flavor of multiple choice where you have several options, but more than one is the correct answer. And in order for the student to get full points, they need to actually select all the correct options. And if they select an incorrect option, the system will penalize them. So let's see how this works. We're going to click plus new question. This time it is a multiple answer, so I'm going to call it MA. Where it says true, false, you see it remembered from the previous question. I'm going to click instead and hover over multiple answers, then click multiple answers. I'm going to make this out of 2 points to keep it easier to understand how the grading works. So once I've done that, I will put in a prompt. So in this prompt, I'm asking the students to choose all the countries that declared war on Germany in 1939. I have 2 options in here. I'm going to start putting in the options. And I can add more options by clicking plus add another answer right here on the right hand side at the bottom. Once I do that, I can enter another option. And I can keep doing that and enter as many as I need. I'll be entering 5 different options. So now I have 5 options, but 2 of them are correct. One is Britain and the other one is France. Italy, Japan, USA are not correct. And I can even provide a feedback to the students over here, explaining, for example, that Italy and Japan were actually partnering with Germany. They were allies. So, of course, they did not declare war on Germany in 1939, and USA joined the war much later. And then once I am happy with all the feedback, I can update the question. So when we're looking at a question like this one, what we have to keep in mind is that this is out of 2 points. There are 2 correct answers. So let's say a student chooses Britain and France, they get 2 points. One person only chooses France, they get 1 point. Let's say a student chooses Britain, Italy, and France. So 2 correct, 1 incorrect, they will get 1 point because they got 2 points for choosing 2 correct answers, and then they lost 1 point for choosing 1 incorrect option. This is the only question type that penalizes the students for guessing and choosing a wrong answer. So moving on, the next question type we'll cover is fill in the blank. This is quite often used. So we're going to again click plus new question. We're going to call this blank as the label. Where it says multiple answers, we're going to instead choose fill in the blank. And then we're going to make this out of 5 points. Again, we need a prompt. So we're going to go with this particular prompt. Now for fill in the blank, the system does not allow you to put in a blank. So you can use underscore symbol to make a fake blank inside your sentence if it's that kind of prompt. Of course, there are other prompts that are questions where you don't need a blank. In those cases, you will not need to do that. But for this case, where it's a sentence that they're having to complete, I put in a blank with underscore. And again, we have several possible answers. Please note none of these are marked as correct. For fill in the blank, what we need to provide Canvas is all the correct answers. So everything we put in these boxes has to be acceptable answers that will give the students full points. So the answer is actually submarines. You do not have to worry about the uppercase, lowercase. So if a student writes submarines with capital S, it will still be accepted. I'm also going to write submarine in case someone gives me the singular. I might even decide to accept submarines and submarine with a dash in case someone wants to do some weird spelling. So I will only be giving all correct answers to this. So the students will not see any of these answers. These are used for the grading portion of this. So they're all correct, acceptable answers that will give the students full 5 points. And again, I can give students the feedback. So for example, if they choose submarines, I can put in a feedback saying that word is actually spelled submarines. So I can give that feedback only for students who type this answer, submarines with the dash. And I can choose to give feedback for every single option that is chosen or overall comments. And then I can update the question. So that is a fill in the blank. The next one we're going to do is similar to that, but we're going to have multiple fill in the blanks. So we're again plus new question. Going to label this, then we're going to click where it says fill in the blank, and this time we're going to choose fill in multiple blanks. So this one we're going to make it worth 10 points, and we're going to put in a prompt. And so this is what you would think the prompt should look like. I want them to fill in this particular sentence with the missing words. Now, unlike fill in the blank, where I need to do the underscore, here instead of underscore, we're going to put words inside square brackets and then define what those words could be replaced with. The students will not see the words, they'll just see a blank box where they can type. So let's do this. We're going to put in here word 1 in square brackets, and then for the other blank we're going to put word 2 in square blank. So instead of word 1 and word 2, the students will see boxes where they can type the words. And then below that, once I have done this, once I have set up these words inside the square brackets, I have to tell Canvas what are correct answers for these words. So for word 1, we're going to say force is an acceptable answer, and that's the only one, so I'm going to delete the other option. Then where it says word 1, I'm going to click and select word 2. Now I'm going to put in mass, and that's going to be the only acceptable answer. So I'm defining here which words, which answers are correct. The students do not see this, they just see this sentence with blank boxes where they can type words for these word 1 and word 2. Once I'm happy with everything, I click update question. And the last type was going to be numerical answer. This question type is the last one we're covering that Canvas can actually grade for you. So we're going to click again, new question. This is going to be numerical, so I'm labeling it. Where it says fill in multiple blanks, I'm choosing numerical answer. And I'm going to leave this as 5 points. And I have to write a prompt. So I'm going to write a formula. So I'm asking them to identify the square root of 175. And then once I have done that, I have to define the answers. So I can give an exact answer, or I can give a range, or I can give answer with within a certain precision. So exact answer, of course, I can enter that. I have the exact answer right here. And I can even define an error margin. And then I can even define a range. So for example, 13.22 to 13.23 will be acceptable answer. So the students will get to type in a number and it will check, is it this exact answer or is it in this range? And I can add in more options as well. I can add in an answer with precision, etc. I can add more variations of what I will accept as a correct answer. I could also only use answer in the range. I don't have to use exact answer. So those are my options. So if a student enters 13.223 or 229, it will declare it as correct because it is between 13.22 and 13.23. Once I'm happy with everything, I'm going to click update questions. The last question type we're going to cover is not automatically graded by Canvas. You'll have to grade it yourself. And you will see that in the way it's set up as well. So we're going to start again. This is an essay type, which means that the students will get a box, just like the box you get for the prompt, where they can enter text, format the text with bold, italics, alignment, all these options, embed images, do all those things that you can do in here. And that will be their answer on what you grade. So this is called essay question. We're going to make this worth 20 points. And again, we need to write the prompt. So I'm going to copy a prompt. This is an essay prompt where I'm telling them how many words they should be using. And you notice that there is no portion in here where I can choose the correct answer. So then I'm going to update question to save this essay question. And then when we save, we can preview this quiz so we can see these questions. So the first question is multiple choice. You can see that the students are presented with the prompt and then they get to choose the answer. Then for true false, the statement is presented and then they get to choose true or false. For multiple answers, they are presented with all the options you put in, and they have brackets that they can click to inside of to put a check mark, and that means they have selected these 3 options as the correct answer. For fill in the blank with only one blank, again, we have to create a fake blank if we want it to be inside of the prompt, and then they get a box after our prompt to type in the answer. Let's put in this the answer and fill in multiple blanks where we put word 1 and word 2. We see that the students are getting a blank box where they can type. And then let's put in that answer for the numerical question. They just get a box, just like fill in the blank. It's just a fill in the blank that does better when the answer is a number. It does better on establishing whether it's a correct answer or not. And then for the essay question, they can see the entire prompt of the question. They can see it's worth 20 points. And then, as I said, they get a box where they can type in text and format it as they need to. And also the system is telling them how many words they are writing as well, so they can keep track. And then they click submit quiz. And you can see that, for example, for the multiple answer question, this person got 0 points because they chose one correct answer, Britain. So they got 1 point for that. But then they chose 2 incorrect answers, USA and Japan, which is -2, but they can't get below 0. So they got 1 minus 2 is -1, so they got a 0. And then for fill in the blank, they got the feedback where I said that it's actually spelled submarines. For the question with 2 fill in the blanks, they got half the points because the second one was not correct. It said masses. And then for the numerical one, it was within the range, so they got the 5 points. And for the essay question, it says not yet graded, and it summarizes the question for them. So this is what some of the questions are that you can create in Canvas, how you set them up, and how they look like to the students.